Hello everyone. Call centers, contact centers. If you've been part of my generation, it was a rage at some point when boys and girls sat in big halls, amazing headsets, lovely American accents, took lots of calls. While that definitely continues, I'm not saying that that's gone away. Call center as such has evolved so much and become a contact center. And to discuss this evolution, we have with us Mr. Gaurav Prakash. Mr. Gaurav Prakash is Senior Director Training and Quality at Concentrix India. Incidentally, he started his journey as a customer agent, and today he's here to discuss the journey of a contact center as well as his own journey. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sukanya, for inviting me. It's my pleasure. Now, when we look at contact centers, all of us know it has evolved significantly over the last 2 decades. Legacy contact centers were more of hardware and network-based telephony. What has changed, and thanks to internet and mobile-based applications, it is more of digital contact centers now. What has also changed over the last 2 decades is that now from a primary contact center model, like we used to have voice or email, it has now moved to omni-channel.
Right.
Thanks to technology. Thanks to technology also, we have been able to integrate all of these channels like voice, email, social media, even internet messages that we get. And for the agent also, it's easier to navigate and access. Plus, it gives the flexibility and option of choosing the right touch point for consumers also. They can choose either to write an email or just reach out via chat. So that is really very helpful. The other very important aspect that has changed is the shift from customer support to customer experience, which means earlier we are more focused towards, or the expectation was to resolve customers' query and respond for any information that they're seeking. Now what is happening is the customers are expecting, and the industry has already moved towards where we provide them guidance also in terms of what to choose, take decisions when they're looking at products. For example, if we have a consumer, they really want to check if the product or the service actually caters to their requirements or not. So that's where we are in terms of evolution.
And has COVID specifically acted as an inflection point, or was it a natural progression that has happened over years?
I would say pre-COVID, not just the contact center industry, but everywhere, people used to think that how can we have a successful work-at-home model, for example, right? So COVID definitely has played a big role and has been, the digital implementation enforcer, I would say, because what has happened is after COVID, we know that the companies moved to a model where we are working remotely from home, right? And that definitely, for that definitely a technology intervention was required, where we were able to make sure that still the work is on without any impact.
Correct.
And hence, COVID has played a big role.
So you mean to say that there was a natural journey, but COVID has come and become an accelerator where it has become, it's not an option anymore. You just have to get those things done.
Absolutely. COVID has played a catalyst role, I would say.
Yeah, that's the right word, the catalyst. So you've spoken about technology, right, and how technology has been a key enabler. Give us some examples of some of the technology that today play a critical role in a contact center, and how, like I'm sure there are multiple points, but give us some examples of how they get leveraged.
When we look at technology intervention, and I'll not just talk about customer-facing technology, the contact center industry is also looking inwards or have deployed technologies to improve their efficiencies, right? Examples like artificial intelligence, automation, robotics, speech analytics, and all of these technologies are leveraged and used right from the hiring stage till the for the entire agent life cycle. Right till the time the agent exits the company. It's an end-to-end technology intervention that really helps us bring in that efficiency and effectiveness.
Can you give us some example? For example, like in a life cycle, give us some points where technology didn't really play any role earlier, but now it does.
Yeah, so one example is recruitment, right? So in a typical traditional recruitment setup, you would actually reach out to candidates or call them to office, right? Post-COVID plus the technology, because of the technology intervention, what is happening is that we have systems in place that we have deployed where we can remotely access with same kind of effectiveness and still get the right set of candidates. So technology definitely has played a big role. Like one example is for hiring, where we can remotely assess people, interview people, and then onboard them.
Got it. So a lot of changes, a lot of disruption, especially where you said, that it's not a very simple call taking process. It has multiple dimensions, integrated processes, integrated channels, and it's changed a lot. So going forward, give me 2, 3 possible disruptors. I mean, again, it could be a little bit of an imaginative scenario, but that's always interesting because things that we never imagined have come true. But what do you think would be the main key disruptors and changes that you'll perceive in future?
So I think two areas where to my mind the industry is headed. One is the decentralized model, which says that it is no more where the agents will come into one location and work. It is about how do we decentralize that, and actually the frontline agent would be like a one operational node, which means they can work from anywhere, from home or elsewhere. Second is automation. While we've spoken about that, but it will play a big role, not only basically in identifying the intake or the basic queries that automation will resolve. The focus will shift from the basic needs or basic queries being resolved by automation to much more complex and solution oriented challenges that we'll have to overcome and solve for which I think the need of the hour is that we make sure we are able to upskill our talent and also be able to predict the future trends in terms of what is required from a customer standpoint. I think these two areas definitely are the focus and the next things that we need to work on.
Because if we look for it in a structured way, I think we have data, right? Data that will help make those decisions are there. I think building the technology and getting the right skilled people, you said it right. I
Absolutely.
think those will be the important things. Interestingly, I think COVID has obviously proven the the distributed model. Let's see what future holds for us. You started as a contact center agent, and now there are people starting. But today, I think the entity that we call as contact center, like you mentioned, is changed. So, what has the skill composition changed from, let's say, even 10 years back to now? What kind of roles did you hire for earlier, and what kind of roles or capabilities do you have to build now?
Yeah, I think it has changed dramatically. What is happening now is that, let's say, the frontline agents are more inclusive and expansive at the same time, which means that they're inclusive, they understand how the entire technology works around them, which really helps them, because any technology intervention that we do, it is centered around two things. One is the staff, which is that starts from a frontline agent, and second is how this will help our clients to enhance their customer experience, right? So when I say inclusive, it refers to, do they really understand how the technology works? Are they engaged, involved? Second piece is how fast do they adapt to learning, because it's ever changing from a client side, from technology standpoint. And the third one is that the learning today has moved from a more detailed or a comprehensive one to a targeted and a focused one, right? So that is also a change that we see. And as far as expansive is concerned, across all levels, the skills that we see now or that are required now are to be able to proactively understand what the customer needs are, not only the future needs, but also the unstated needs. Because when we look at the stated needs, which is clearly laid down that you have to kind of work on specific targets, but how well do we understand what are some of the unstated needs of the customer and how well we partner with them are the skills for today and going forward.
And how would you train people on it? Of course, some comes with experience, but is this happening through training?
Yes. So there are interventions from a learning and development standpoint, but when we look at the future broadly, it is I would classify them into 4 areas. One is that when we look at the basic kind of work which we know the automation is taking care of, and the partial decision making work which is done by the augmented reality solutions. these are already ongoing. These are continuing. The other two pieces are where we look at the complex work, plus also where we need to work on the policy developments, which means that in these two areas, and I was looking at some stats and they suggest that around 60% of our learning functions are either uninformed or not aware,
Wow.
or either they are not working on upskilling themselves. So which means that in future there could be a big dearth of such talent, and we need to take action now in case we don't
Totally.
want to face this situation going forward.
You have to be prepared for what's coming 5 years down the line.
Absolutely.
That's the only way. To end the conversation, I'll ask one question. Today, what percentage of contacts typically get solved through digital, and what percentage are landing in a contact center with a human, I mean? And with the way technology is evolving in 5 years, where do you think that will stand?
So it really depends on how evolved the digital platform is, right? So for example,
I will take a best in class. Let's say
Yeah.
if all things good, what would be the percentage?
So it would be anywhere between 50 to 60%, and like I said, we need to evolve, because if we have to break that down into pieces where we have to solve for complex queries, obviously we need to have human intervention, right? That is the most important, and it will really depend on how well we evolve that over a period of time and reach a stage that we say this is the optimal level where the digital platform can help and support. So human intervention will continue to exist, but it will be a hybrid model where it would be a combination of both human plus digital.
Right. And that's not the goal at all, to eliminate, because there are problems, there's value to human interactions,
Absolutely.
right? That we don't want to eliminate. Just to clarify, 50 to 60% of calls land up with human agents today?
Yeah.
Good. And so we have only more and more forward to go from here and solve greater problems. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for joining us today. Appreciate it. We'll keep the conversations going. We'll get deeper into how different dimensions of contact centers work as we move forward. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Sukanya.